and you know he told you not to do it, and you, bless God, do it anyway, that's out of his will. Everything else is just us trying to hear his voice and follow him. And you know what? Sometimes we miss it. I won't take a raise of hands or anything for anybody who hasn't ever missed it, because we've all missed it. The good thing about God is that he can put you back on track. If you keep your heart right, you say, Father, I'm going to go in this direction. If I shouldn't, please tell me. And if not, I'm going to keep on going, but my heart is with you. And if any time you tell me not to, I won't do it. You know what? He can work with a heart like that. Yeah. I know when I was moving from Boise, Idaho to here, deciding to give up my church and give up my family, my church family there, and sell my house and move here to Tulsa again. I was kind of stressed out over this decision. You know, I mean, I was making this decision based on what I thought God was telling me to do, but what if I was wrong? I uprooted my family, I left behind a good thing, and here I was moving out into the unknown, didn't know what was here when I got here, and it sure didn't end up looking like I thought. Hello, that's a whole nother sermon. But God finally told me, Karen, even if you were making the wrong decision, I'm big enough to get you back on track. Oh, that made me feel so much better. It made me not scared. Because some people get so scared to make the wrong decision, get out of the will of God, that they don't do anything. Yeah. But remember, you are led. He will guide you. He won't forsake you. And if you do it with the right heart. Now, if you're like, God, I don't care what you say. I am moving to Cleveland because I want to. There are people who say that. I don't know why. And God's going, don't do it. And I don't care. There's a good job there. I'll make $25 million a year, and it's better, and I'm going. Then they get out of his will, and things turn out way worse than you can imagine. But otherwise, just take some steps. We're going to talk about that. 9 things to help you. These aren't necessarily in order, just kind of at random. But the first step, when you want to get God's directions for your life, the first step is determine to be led by God. Now, I know that sounds sort of rudimentary, sort of basic, but here's the deal. Lots of people are moved by other things than God. Okay? Moved by circumstances, moved by feelings, moved by somebody else's opinion, moved by proving something to someone. Try to get free from that, okay? Has nothing to do with your life and your plan. Your life will prove out in the end if you follow God, I promise. You don't have to prove yourself. You just stay faithful, and the fruit will prove it. Okay? So don't be led by anything else. Or by, sometimes the pressure is big right here in this spot. You think, if I could just get another job, if I could just get another spouse, if I could just move to another city, then everything would be okay. Not if it's not God's will. Everything will be worse. So when you're deciding whether or not to do something, don't be led by anything except God. Here's a big one. Don't be led by money. Lots of people make bad decisions based on, well, if I go there, I'll make more money. Well, that's good. I'm for more money. And don't misunderstand me. I like more money. But not if you're out of God's will. Because then all the money can't take the place of being in the will of God. So when you're deciding to move to a new city or to do a new thing or whatever it is that's on your heart, some of you pastors are thinking about, should I buy this building? Or should I, add another service or whatever? We all have things we have to decide on, right? Number 1, determine to be led by God and not anything else. Don't be led by the need. Don't be led by money. Don't be led by anything but what God has called you to do. There's always going to be more to do on the earth than we are going to do ourselves, right? A good idea is not necessarily a God idea for you. So number 1, be determined to live and to listen to God. Be determined to be led by His Spirit. And then, here's another thing we do is make pro-con lists. Right? And the pro turned out 6 and the con turned out 4, so I'm going to do it. This is just not how we are led. What do we read in Romans 8? We are led by the Spirit. That means you're going to have to spend time in the Spirit realm where your answers are, huh? Be determined to be led by God and not by all the different possibilities and reasons and pros and cons and all the different things that people use to make decisions by. You are a Christian. God is in you. He has a plan for your life. Get with the plan and you're good. Right? So be determined to be led by God. I love the story in Luke chapter 10. You all know it, about Mary and Martha. Love Martha, love her. I think she had a daytimer. Well, now she had an iPad, and she was just on it. She was the task woman, right? And she's got so many things going on. She didn't have time to stop and listen to God, right? And so they're sitting. So she's in the kitchen. I can't wait to see the video, because I bet she's in there banging pots around and making a lot of noise and yelling at the servants because it's not getting done. And her dumb sister is not in there helping her panic over this event. Won't you please panic with me? She's so frazzled. I can just see the spit flying, veins sticking out in the neck. She runs into her living room and yells at the Lord. You know you're in a bad way when you yell at the Lord. And she says, "Make my sister come in and help me." Now, she's talking to the guy who just multiplied a couple of fish and loaves into enough to feed a bigger crowd than she's got at the house. So maybe all of her efforts in her own flesh are bypassing a miracle. I don't know. Just keep smiling. Okay, but Jesus says to her, "Martha, Martha." Can't you just hear him? "Martha, Martha, you're cumbered about by so many details that you're trying to work out in your own flesh." And all of us list makers just kept smiling. He said, but what he said to Mary, I love. He said, "One thing is needful." Everybody say one thing. Now see, Martha's thinking 487 things are needful here to get this meal on the table. You ever felt like that? It's just not that easy, Miss Karen. I can't just make a decision to do or not to do. There's all these things attached to it. What did Jesus say? One thing is needful, and Mary chose the one thing. What's she doing in the middle of all this brouhaha? She's sitting at his feet listening to him. Trust me, in your situations, especially when you get so many things happening and your head is just, and I got to make this decision, I got to do these things, but so-and-so says this, and if I do that, then this is going to happen, and this is going to, Anybody? Just me? Jesus says one thing is needful. Sit at his feet. Hear his voice. Be determined to be led by him. Okay, so that's help number one. Be determined to be led by God and not by anything else. Okay, number two, pray in the Spirit. You've got the guide right on the inside of you. If you don't pray in tongues, run up to somebody today at Winter Bible Seminar and say, "Pray for me so I can shandala maso kurabandai." Okay, praying in tongues is the coolest thing ever. I am not afraid to talk about praying in tongues because it's the coolest thing ever. Pray in the Spirit. God's answers for you, his plan for you is in the spirit realm. Wouldn't it make sense to draw it out? Proverbs says, "The wells are deep and a man of understanding draws it out." Praying in the Spirit helps you pray out mysteries. 1 Corinthians 14:2 says when we pray in the Spirit, we're praying mysteries. How many know tomorrow is a mystery to you and me? Not to mention next week and next month and next year. You don't want to make decisions today that are going to affect your future in a bad way. You want to make decisions today that are going to affect your future in a good way. When you pray in the Spirit, mysteries come to light. You just know things. I wish I could explain it better than that. And here we have this wonderful gift we're carrying around, and we're not always using it. If you're facing a decision or a time where you're trying to decide what to do, you need to pray in the Spirit. Go to sleep praying in the Spirit. You'll wake up knowing stuff. It's awesome. It's a gift that God has given us so that we can know things. Romans 8:26, it says, we know not what to pray for as we ought. Anybody ever been there? Dear Lord, somebody should pray. I just don't know what to pray for. The Spirit prays for us. He makes intercessions with groanings that cannot be understood. You don't understand some things about your future, but he does. And he's in you. So when you pray in the Spirit, not only do you've got your word on it,